Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here and welcome back to another Division video. Now this is actually part 2 of our 2-part series looking at which weapon and gear talents you should be prioritizing and which you should be avoiding. Now for this series I've actually teamed up with an awesome Division YouTuber that goes by the name of SkillUp. You guys have most likely seen some of his videos before, but if you haven't then you can find a link to his channel in the description box down below. Definitely check it out because he's done some really great work. And SkillUp, it's good to be working with you.
Thanks Arekkz. As we mentioned in our intro, this video is actually part 2 of our 2-part series, and if you're interested to hear about the best weapon talents, then be sure to check out that video over on my channel. You can click the link on screen or in the description below to find that one. So Arekkz, back over to you.
Firstly, just so that it's ultra clear, this video is looking at gear talents and not gear bonuses. Talents are the ones that come fixed on a piece of gear right at the top up here, and not the bonuses that you can re-roll at the recalibration station. If you want a video on armor bonuses, then of course let us know down below because that could be one for the future. But for the time being, how are we going to analyze the best gear talents? Well, since there are loads of different gear talents and we don't really want to spend time speaking about every single one in detail, what we're going to be doing is going slot by slot and grouping or tiering the talents based on how useful they are for that slot. And similar to the approach that we took with weapon talents, we will have 3 tiers that we can use.
Firstly, we have top tier, and these are the talents that you want on your gear and should be the focus of all of your farming and crafting. Next up, we have situational, and these are the talents that can be quite strong depending on your build or playstyle, but generally require some sacrifices in order to get the most out of them.
And finally, low performing, these are the talents that range from being mildly interesting to downright terrible, and generally speaking you want to avoid these. So let's start off by taking a look at the backpack slot.
So the talents resourceful and technical are definitely low priorities here. The resourceful talent heals your skill objects such as turrets, mobile cover or first aid stations, but since we generally don't care about how much damage these things take at this point, this is definitely not a great stat. The technical talent increases your skill power by 13% when your signature skill is active, but given how little skill power this is and how long your signature skill cooldown is, this is definitely not a great talent.
The situational talent for your backpack slot is Relentless, which heals you for 3% of the damage dealt by your skills. Now, skill power based builds that are reliant on turret or even sticky bomb can do well with this talent.
Your best options for backpacks are Specialized and Inventive. Specialized increases your skill power by 13% of your firearms and your stamina, but note that this is buffing your skill power, not your electronics. If it buffed your electronics, you'd have a hell of a lot more skill power as a result of that, so just be aware of that calculation. Still, it's a nice talent to have as it complements your DPS and tanking focused builds. Inventive increases your skill power by 13% while you're at full health, and this is by far and away the best talent to have on your backpack no matter what setup you're running with. This is in essence a free 13% skill power, which is super nice indeed, especially on skill power based builds. So next up on the chest slot, we have quite a few options here. So there's really only one low priority option, and that is Forceful, which increases your armor by a certain percentage when your signature skill is activated. And while this can be good on something like a tank build, it's generally more of a nice to have than a game changer. The other 4 talents in this on this slot are actually all quite strong. So first of all, we have Robust. Robust is a talent that grants you 45% more armor while you're in cover, and this is obviously a lot of armor, and you're going to be spending a lot of time in cover, and this obviously does extend to when you pop out of cover to take shots. So it's a really great talent to have and definitely one that you shouldn't overlook.
Next up we have Reckless, which is actually bugged at the moment. It doesn't work as advertised, but when it's fixed, this talent increases the amount of damage you dish out, but it also increases the amount of damage you take. So needless to say, this isn't ideal for a tank build, but it is awesome for a DPS focused build, since you're generally aiming to avoid as much damage as possible, so it can be a really awesome stat.
Next up on the chest slot, we have Rapid, which reduces the cooldown of your healing skills by 13%. And of course, any healing focused build is going to love this talent, and it's a bit of a must have if that's your playstyle.
And finally on chests we have Vigorous, a talent that gives all of your healing skills overheal capability, which again is just great for healer focused builds and is a great talent to run with if you prefer larger HP bars over quicker heal cooldowns. Now for masks, we again have 2 fairly low priority talents and 3 top tier.
For low priority, we have Tenacious and Rehabilitated. Tenacious gives your medkits a brief damage boost, and while this can be nice if you're in PvP scrapes or you like to cheese really big M44 headshots, it's definitely less useful than other talent choices in this slot. Rehabilitated is bugged at the moment, but when it works properly, it will heal you for 2% of your max health whenever you are affected by a status ailment, and that's nice, but it's definitely not a game changer, so probably avoid this one when it finally gets fixed.
For the top tier choices, our 3 options are Enduring, which heals you continuously while you are in your last segment of health, and this talent can be a lifesaver when you find yourself low on health and behind cover, waiting for your health to start ticking back up. Definitely recommend this one very highly.
Next up, Refreshed, which improves all healing on you by 30% when you're in your last health segment, which is just a massive amount of health no matter what build or playstyle you are running with. A decently geared healer can instantly fully heal even the most HP heavy tanks with this talent, so be sure to grab it.
And finally, you have Rejuvenated, which clears all status effects from you when you consume a medkit. Of the 3 just listed, this talent is probably going to be the most useful for this slot, as things like stun grenades, flamethrower, and any other type of ailment you can think of are quickly washed away with this one, which of course has a huge benefit in both PvE and PvP. Now moving on to gloves, the good and the bad news is that all of the options here are actually excellent depending on your build and playstyle.
So first up, we have Reckless, which is exactly the same as the chest slot variant that increases your damage dealt and your damage taken. This is quite rare on glove slot, but it does occur. You can get it, so just keep chasing that one. Next up is Savage, which improves your crit hit chance by 13% for targets out of cover. This talent is an absolute monster in PvP, as the majority of your targets will be out of cover as they seek to engage, and even in PvE it's very common that the silly AI will just stand there letting you wail on them with everything that you've got. This is definitely one of the best talents for gloves, and in fact it's probably just one of the best talents in the game.
Now Cunning gives the first bullet you fire after reloading a 9.5% higher crit chance, which can be great on marksman rifle focused builds that really rely on big crits to deal huge burst damage. This is a great talent, but not as great as Astute, which gives the first 3 bullets of your magazine a 9.5% chance to crit. Why these 2 talents exist when Astute is clearly so much better than Cunning is a bit of a mystery, but there it is. And finally we have Decisive, which grants headshots with your sidearm an additional 25% more damage. Now this doesn't seem like all that much, but any tank build focusing on the ballistic shield is also all about pistol or sawn-off headshots, making this talent somewhat a must-have for those builds.
For the knee slot, there's really only one talent worth calling out, and that's Perceptive, which increases your item and credit find bonuses for 25%. So with this talent and decent scavenging rolls on your mask, knees, and mods, you're very likely to push upwards of 200 or 250% scavenging or even more. So it's very helpful indeed.
And finally, for the holster slot, we have 3 talents associated with cover which are Nimble, Sturdy, and Recovered. All 3 of them are pretty average in our opinion, so you can probably do without them, as they only really provide very situational use. Steadfast, however, is definitely a top tier choice here, as it increases the rate at which your health regen kicks in, making it twice as fast. And seeing as sitting behind cover and waiting for your health to regen happens all too often, this talent can and will be a very big help. And that, my friends, is it. That is the complete list of gear talents ranked. These talents can be pretty damn potent if you happen to get the role that you need for your build, so keep grinding and crafting until you get your hands on them.
Don't forget that this video was part 2 of a 2-part series. The other video covering weapon talents is now available over at my channel, so click the link to watch that one right now.
Also, if you guys enjoyed our collaboration, make sure you let us know down below, and I'm sure we can work on some more videos together in the future. For the time being, if you guys did enjoy this video, then a like would be super appreciated, and thanks for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.